8:21 on a Wednesday morning. Good to see you. Welcome back. Matt Lee joins us, and we're talking about Mortgage Improvement Plus here.
Yes. Yeah.
Something very fascinating. Where if you fell in love with a house, but there's something wrong with it, you want to do some renovations, the mortgage company can work with you. Explain this process.
Yeah, so we'll get into kind of the process that we have in the offer side of things, and I'm sure Sean Binkley will explain kind of the mortgage and how that kind of really goes into the Mortgage Plus Improvement side of it. But what we need to talk about is when you get to a house, from my process, you go in, you love it, and all of a sudden you think, I love everything about this house except for the kitchen.
Say it's older.
It's older. It's priced accordingly.
Older appliances.
Yeah. So
maybe
somebody says, what can I do? So my job is to say, let's talk to the mortgage broker and say, is there a possibility of doing Mortgage Plus improvements? Can we add in the cost of that kitchen into the mortgage so it blends in and
with
have
your
it done
payments, okay,
right away? So the mortgage company would be actually setting the money aside and adding it to your mortgage to get that kitchen done. What I need to do as far as a process goes is make sure that I'm talking to somebody like Sean or anybody else that is doing the deal itself to make sure I know how much time I need for conditional times. Because two things that are biggest in an offer is conditional period time and price. From what I've gathered from the information, those are the two crucial things. If you get into a Mortgage Plus Improvements, the deals that I've seen in the last little while, I would say 90% of them needed an appraiser. And how the whole process works is that you have to start off by first finding out from the broker that you can do a Mortgage Plus Improvements. Second, you have to get quotes from contractors, which does take time. We have to get through, we're doing it during our inspection time, or we're doing it as soon as we can get a contractor through.
So you have a wish list of things to get done for that kitchen, and then a contractor will come in and say, okay, it's going to cost you this much, this much, this much, new tiling, new floor.
Which does take
final
time. And it's the thing is they'll take notes of what you really want, but then they have to go back and they have to break it down because it's going to be the actual cost. So it does take a little time for a contractor to do an estimate. Every house is different, and we've gone through that a number of times. So all of a sudden we're adding a couple days. And then the quote gets sent off to the mortgage company. The mortgage company then requests an appraisal. The appraisers are busy right now. So the thing is that then all of a sudden it takes a couple days to get them there. Once they get there, they have to do their report, which then takes a couple more days. So what could be a financial condition for 3 to 5 days then turns into 2 weeks. So we have to make sure that we know this up front. So when I'm looking at the process of something like this, I need to know if we're going to do Mortgage Plus Improvements, then I need to make sure that I set my conditional periods properly so we don't have to ask for an extension. What happens when you start asking for extensions is that you want to make sure that the seller, maybe they didn't know that you were doing Mortgage Plus Improvements. Maybe you don't want there to be more action on the house, and all of a sudden they have the ability to look at something else. So we want to make sure we have the right amount of time to protect the buyer going into the deal itself.
So the seller knows that, okay, there's been an offer, but they're looking into financing for renovations.
Right. So you're looking at the financing for yourself plus the Mortgage Plus plus the improvements, and it's going to take me this amount of time to get, first of all, quotes, second of all, appraisal, get it back to the lender, and make sure that all of these things line up together.
And the other option would be just go ahead, put the bid in, the seller accepts it, and then deal with those renovations later, but then that's going to be pricey because you're looking at some money, perhaps a loan later, where this way you can just put it all into one bundle.
Yeah, if you did it separately, you're going to be looking at doing it on a line of credit. And then if you were to try to refinance down the road, that's something that you'd have to talk to the broker about to try to blend it in later. It would, because most people, me included, do a 5-year fix. So therefore, you're not going to be able to renegotiate that without some sort of penalty if you were trying to add that in. So that's something that I would leave directly to the broker. It's something, what we're talking about here is making sure that we know in regards to timing that I'm talking to the mortgage broker and that we're all kind of working together on the timing to make sure that we can, 1, get the contractor in, 2, get the appraiser in, and that I know when I'm writing the offer that we need this amount of time to get it done.
And the buyer knows
the whole process.
Or the seller knows what's going on, and
Yeah.
hopefully allow you that little bit of space.
Exactly, and you want to make sure that the buyer understands how the longer process takes. And we want to, doing Mortgage Plus improvements, or do we do it as a regular deal and set it up for our line of credit later?
Okay. Again, communication.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
And your broker, your agent can be your best friend during this very stressful time.
Yeah, we make it as easy as possible, and we just carry on from there.
Perfect. Matt, we'll see you very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you after the break.
Real Estate Tips, brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.